welcome to the Miller's Way. Today we're canning grape juice. We got a great crop of grapes this year. This is September 17th, 2021. We grew up Concords and White Niagara and Catawbas. The White Niagara, Catawbas, we made a lot of wine last year, so this year we're juicing this. The Catawbas will make some wine, but the kids love grape juice. I love it. Emmy loves it. So we're making a bunch of grape juice. We've got these half-gallon mason jars. We put it in quarts too, but if you drink a lot like we do, these half-gallons work a lot better. The nice thing about these half-gallon ball mason jars, they use the same wide lid that your quart and your pints do, the wide mouth. It's the same lid, so it's nothing special. And these will hold a half-gallon apiece. So we've got some grapes cooking down right now. They're steaming, they're juicing up here. We're going to have a separate video on that. And we're going to show you, we're going to give you a review on this steamer, the Mihu Lisa. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced, but that's what I'm calling it. And we love it. It works great. But we'll have a separate video on that. So we got some juice cooking down. We got some juice we made last night. What we're doing now, this comes out pretty concentrated. If you can see here, this thing's phenomenal. We'll get into that in the next video. But it comes out pretty concentrated, and we found what we do, we add sugar to it, but we found that it's just a little bit too concentrated for the kids. I mean, you can't just chug a full glass of it. It's got a lot of body to it. So what we do, and you'll notice here I have a hydrometer. You don't need this to make juice, but I do, because this will tell you, if you get it, you're tasting it, you say this is perfect sweetness. You stick a hydrometer in there and you mark that down, and every time you do it, it's not a guessing game anymore. You know how much sugar you have in there based on your specific gravity. So we filled these two phyllo jars up. I dumped them both in here. We like to get a bunch going, and then we just combine it all. Got them in a nice bucket here. Nice clean bucket. That's easier to mix a bunch in. And then we add sugar. I added a little bit already. We're going to add a little bit more. And what I did on this was, like I said, those were both concentrated. That was just straight out of the juicer. We took some in one of our quart jars we opened up, and we just added a little water until the kids really liked it. So that's no rocket science here. I have it batch to batch depending on the ripeness of the grapes and the sugar and everything that's already in them. It could be a little different. So we just get a big batch going, and we start adding sugar to it. And I added a quart of water, just a quart for now. And then I take a little medicine cup here. We mix a little bit, and we taste it. I don't know if you can tell, but it's still pretty thick yet. It's got beautiful color to it, but the Brix is high in these. Brix is your measurement of sugar in your fruit. The Brix is real high on this year, 18% I think, or 18 Brix. I'm going to add another cup. I do it a cup at a time. You can always add more. You can't take it back out. So we're going to add a cup of sugar. And like I said, it's still pretty, it's got a good body to it. I'm going to add 2 more cups of water. If you add too much sugar or water, you're just going to have to add more juice if you got more juice. This is the safe way to do it. So we're going to stir this up. I like using one of these slotted spoons. I think it stirs it quicker because you're running juice. Not only is the spoon churning it, but you've got the juice running through those holes as well, and I think it just stirs it up quicker. When you get her churned up good, you'll know if the sugar's all dissolved. You'll hear and feel the crunchiness at the bottom, the sugar grinding against the bottom, the rubbing against the bottom. So we stir it up good. Now we're going to try it again. Sweetness is getting there, but it's a little bit rich yet. I'm going to add 2 more cups of water. Now, if you plan on making wine, you can do the same thing. You can can this and use it later. If you just don't have time right now, it's something you want to do a fall or winter project, and you got the space and you got the jars, just can it. You can pull it out later. It's already been pasteurized. There's no wild yeast in it. If you don't want wild yeast and you're wanting to use your own yeast, you know, the bad thing is if you're a person that likes just to use the natural yeast that's out there every year, the steamer's not going to work. You're going to have to juice them the old-fashioned way with hands or potato mashers or feet, however you want to do it. But this, a lot of people prefer, and they do it by the book, they're going to pasteurize it anyway. So you can can this, take it out later, you'll already know what your specific gravity is. You know, you've got some sugar added, a little bit of water, you know, test your acidity, things like that, and make your wine. So we'll taste it again here. Emmy's going to go get our 2 professional taste testers. They're the ones that tell us if it's good or not. So we need to bring our quality assurance team in here and see what they think.
We need some testers.
We need testers. We need our quality assurance team here. All right. So before we have our quality assurance team test this, we know what we had it at last time, and we made it a little bit sweeter, but I'm just gonna, what you do is you take this thing, and you got your numbers on there. I'm gonna see where we're at. You get a little foam on there, you just gotta kind of mess with it. It's hard to see when you get foam on there, but when you're stirring up grape juice, I tried to keep it out, but we're gonna have a pretty good idea. 1.060. So the last time we had a 1.062, we decided we wanted a little bit sweeter. We're going to let the pros here test it real quick and get their professional opinions. There's one for you. And one for you. Okay, have a taste and tell Daddy what you think. Is it good? Is it sweet enough? Yeah? Well, there you have it. If the kids say it's sweet enough, Mommy's got a sweet tooth. But if the kids say it's sweet enough, you don't want to add any more sugar than you have to.
It's sweet enough.
It's sweet enough. Is it juicy enough? I think it's good, Mommy.
Okay.
You've been outvoted 3-1. Mommy's got a sweet tooth. She'd have us put another pound or 2 of sugar in there. But again, we don't want to put more sugar in than we have to because that's not good for you either. So, these guys like it. I like it. Mommy will live with it.
I will.
One more thing on these jars, whether you bought new ones or using older ones, just a little tip for those who might be new to canning. When you wash your jars, always take your finger and run around the rim. You're looking for little chips and cracks. I feel one on this one. This is a brand new jar. It's got a little one right there. But it's only on the inside, it's not along here. You look for chips and cracks, and you look for hairline cracks or blemishes in your jar. This is important. If you've got a little chip across there and you put your seal on there, you might go down and have a bad jar of juice down the road. So every time you wash it, just do that. As you're washing them in the sink, take your finger and go around. You find a bad one, put it off to the side. It's not worth losing your hard work. So we've got this tall pot we're doing. We'll do 3 of these. We'll do 3 at a time. Okay, we've got our jars checked. We've got our lids and our bands. So now we're simply gonna fill our pot up. So there's 2 quarts and a half gallon. We're doing 3 of these, so we want 6 of these for now. But I'm just going to heat more of this up because once you fill your jars and seal them, you put them in your hot water bath. You'll bring it to a nice even boil for 15 minutes. That's all you need.
Question.
Yes.
What's the reason why you have to heat up the juice first?
Okay, good question. Why are we, if we've already steamed the juice, why are we heating it up again? Well, if you pour cold juice into cold jars and you put them immediately into hot water, they're gonna crack.
Oh.
And it takes a lot longer. You don't want to put your cold jars and juice in cold water and let it heat up. So, just a good practice. We know that this is cold because we did it the night before. So also, if any bacteria or yeast got introduced to it while it was cold, while we're stirring it up here, if you get a little bit of yeast in here, bacteria introduced, and it's not much, I mean, yeast is everywhere, you're going to have fermentation in your jars. And they're going to blow up eventually, or you're going to open up and it's going to go everywhere because you got a lot of sugar in here. All it takes is a little bit of yeast, and if it takes off, you're going to have a mess. So we're going from cold to hot, and the hot water bath's going to kill the yeast. Don't get me wrong, that will. But again, it's just easier and quicker. Heat your juice up, put them in your jars, and get them in that hot water while the jars are still hot. You let them set out, or you put cold juice in, and you lower them in that hot water, you're going to hear it. And you're going to look down, and your water's going to be purple. Same thing with canning anything else. The jars, we were just canning, a few weeks ago, we were doing beets, some friends and I. And we were doing beets, we're hot water bathing them. When we had an extra jar, we had filled our pot. That jar sat there for probably 45 minutes to an hour before we got the next batch going and ready to go in that pot. Well, when we got to that jar that had sat out for about 45 minutes to an hour, we loaded in there. That's why we heard ting. We looked down and there's beet juice. The water turned red and there's beets floating. So you want your jars hot. Now you're not going to bring this to a boil. You're going to bring it up to 190 degrees. That's all you need. So we'll let that sit for a little bit. When it gets up to 190, we're going to put it in the jars, and we're going to put it down in this long pot here, our hot water bath. We'll hot water bath it for 15 minutes. Welcome back. Checking our juice. You see it's steaming a little bit. We put our temperature probe in here and see what we got. Look at that, 180, 194, so 195. It's ready to go. So we'll turn our heat down. So easy to do. You see our foam went down. That's nice. I always like to go all the way down and come up. It's all mixed up, but that's just the way I do it. Used to doing other things like pie filling and spaghetti sauce and all kinds of things, so I like to mix it up each time I come up. Now again, normally I'd have our super big pot up here, but we just don't have room with everything. I wanted to can some juice while we're making juice. So you bring it up. You're going to get a little foam there to about a ½ inch from the top, ½ inch head space. Now, I don't put my lids on until I'm ready to do them all at the same time. We'll set that off out of the way. Do the next one. Look at that. That smells so good. Doesn't it, Sweet Pea? It's going to taste so good all winter long. No preservatives, no high fructose corn syrup, just straight up grape juice and a little bit of sugar, a little bit of cane sugar. So we know exactly what's in this. We grew them ourselves, so there's no pesticides. You know, a lot of this stuff says organic. Is it? Or are they just saying that? Who knows? Some of it that doesn't say organic, you got to wonder what kind of spray. We don't use any sprays or anything on our grapes. And with inflation, I'm sure anyone's been to the grocery store lately, that's been going on for decades, but grape juice isn't cheap anymore. The frozen concentrated, any of that. I'll take this any day. You can make, now if you plan on making jelly later on, if that's your goal, you want to save some juice for jelly, I recommend not adding sugar. You're going to mess it up when you actually go to make jelly.
How about
because
water?
your recipe, you don't add water or anything to jelly. That's just straight up juice. If you add sugar to taste in this and then you get your recipe out for your jelly, you're going to have a really sweet jelly. So if you're planning on making jelly or even wine, if that's your absolute goal, you're not planning on drinking this, there's enough sugar in this, I wouldn't add any more. You get this, that's how you measure your depth. Per the ball canning book, when you're doing juices and broths like this, you come up to a 1/2 inch headspace. Well, let me grab my glasses here. I already know, but I want to show the increments to you. Let's check our juice here. Yeah, we're about done on this batch. We'll get this done. We'll be switching over this and putting some more grapes in here pretty soon. So you got this is for lids. If you're dealing with hot lids, it's not recommended. I used to do what's called open kettle. We still do it. I've done it since I was a child, where you're putting your hot stuff in. You've got your jars on a steamer. You've got your lids in a hot pan of water. You would put this in. You'd grab a hot lid with this little magnetic lid holder. You'd set it on there. You put your lid on. You're done. It's not recommended anymore. So, do you really need that? You'll probably need it someday. This here, it's got increments on it. 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 3/4, and 1 inch. Okay, so we'll put this on the second notch. That's 1/2 inch. You'll see, we come right up to it. That's 1/2 inch headspace. 1/2 inch headspace. That one's a little low. Not going to hurt anything, but let's top it off a little bit. Here we go. So now, we've got some hot water here with just a little bit of bleach in it, just for steps, to be sterile. Clean washcloth. You don't need to do this so much, but you want to take something, go right around the rim. You just want to clean off anything that might have spilled over, a little sugar, foam, anything. You know, if you're doing spaghetti sauce or fruit, anything, just nice. Make sure you just take your fingertip. See how I got a little bit of grape juice off of there? Just because it'll spill over a little bit. That way your lids, you got to get a nice seal. So you put your lids on. Set them on each one. And then you put your bands on. Again, these jars take regular wide mouth lids. Now, you don't want to cinch this down with all your might, because when this heats up in the hot water boiling water bath, you're going to get some expansion in here. Now, you won't see it so much in hot water bath, but if you're doing pressure canning, you're definitely going to see it. You get expansion in there. these lids, these rims are designed, they look thin, but they're designed, they got a little rim around here. They're designed to lift up a little bit, okay? So when you get expansion in here, air needs to come out. If you get a little too full, some liquid's gonna come out. If you got this thing hammered down as tight as you can get it, what's gonna happen is this lid is gonna bulge out and it's gonna get creases in it. If your jar doesn't explode, you're likely to get pinholes where those creases are. It's not a safe lid anymore. So when you put these on, and get yourself a towel or a washcloth, I prefer washcloth, hold on to it and just, see how my fingers, I just go to my fingers, I'm not hitting tight, just enough to turn that, and then when my fingers are slipping on it, that's all you need. When that cools down, you take them out, it cools down, that lid's going to suck down on it. You don't have to worry about it. Do the next one. Put your lid on. See, I'm not gripping it hard and turn it with all my might. Finger tight. So my hand slips on it. That's all you need. Now there's one other instrument. If you get a ball canning kit, one other tool you're going to get. That's your jar tongs. That's for lifting jars in and out of your water. So here's our tall pan here, because these jars won't fit in a regular pan, and I can only do 3 at a time right now. Now I have a little cooling rack in there. You don't want to put your jars directly on a flat bottom of a pan. You're going to get bubbles and stuff. You're going to get jiggling and jarring. You could get cracked jars. So I've got a little round cooling rack in there, wire cooling rack. So the first one I can pick up my hand and set in there. I'm not going to do that twice though. You'll take your tongs, pick this up. Yeah, we're running out of space, people. Alright, we're going to set that in now. You want it just evenly spaced so they don't jar against each other. Oh, that juice smells phenomenal. I got to tilt this a little bit. When we take these out, I don't like tilting the jars when they're hot. And I don't like taking them out. Usually if I do a big batch, I'll just shut the water off, the heat, and then let them cool overnight. Now, notice how I got water over top. You want an inch of head space over top, or an inch of water over top of your lids. So let's put this in there. Remember, this is an inch. Let's see where it goes to. We're just over an inch. That's perfect. You want at least an inch. You don't want this boiling down and losing that water around your jar lids. So that's in there. We got our heat on. Just going to set our lid on there. Keep an eye on it. I'm going to dump the rest of the juice in there. So we probably got at least 3 more jars of in there. When that comes to a boil, you don't want a hard rolling boil. Just when it starts bubbling, turn your heat down enough and we just get a constant boil. Nice slow rolling boil. That's all you need. You're going to time it for 15 minutes. Again, that's per the ball canning book.
Hey.